All right, what is going on, everyone? Anthony Cofrancesco from Data Dive, and this is Office Hours. Today, we have a new series called Real World Case Studies. This is our first time doing this, and my plan is to do this for the next 4 to 5 weeks. We've already got a handful of other case studies that are in the queue, that are in the pipeline. And so today is just going to be the first time. We're going to do this same case study for this entire week. So as you know, we do office hours for North America, for Europe, and then for Asia Pacific. So if the format isn't exactly perfect, it's going to get better and better. I do really want everyone's feedback in the end about how we can make these better. I'm feeling like if we add a little bit more detail and get a little more concrete on the steps, that's going to be helpful. But keep in mind what you'd like to see be improved, and then we'll do our best to to make that happen. And with no further ado, let's jump in and let's get into it. So as always, we're going to go through some quick announcements first. I know a lot of people here have already been at office hours in the past, so we'll go from there. So this is Real World Case Studies, office hours from Data Dive. A special shout out and thanks to Joey Glyshaw and ZonFlip. So this is what the case study was based off of. Joey's actually here on this call today. So once we get through the overall analysis, anyone here who has questions, Joey will likely be able to answer in more detail what actually happened in the case study today. And hopefully you'll be able to go and replicate similar results on your own. Like I said, we've got a handful of additional case studies that we have in the pipeline that we're going to be going through over the next 4 or 5 weeks. So there's going to be a lot more to come, and potentially more from Joey. His agency, ZonFlip, does all kinds of these. He's got loads and loads of these. So if you like what Joey has to say today, then I think he's willing to come back and even share more information about how his agency gets such great results. So if you haven't already had a demo with one of the team or a training with the team, I recommend booking a training. This is going away. What you're going to notice is that all of the in-app pop-ups for the Data Dive training for existing users are basically all going away. I'm still going to share this QR code in this link in office hours, but you're going to find it's going to over time be harder and harder to get one-on-one coaching. We're going to really be transitioning more towards pushing people to the new videos that are coming out on the YouTube channel and joining office hours. And then I think there's going to be some kind of cap in terms of what you get in the one-on-one coaching. So I'd say if you still haven't done this, take advantage, because we're going to be slimming this down. We're really trying to scale up Data Dive in the next year. And a lot of that is going to be focusing on new business and onboarding people in their first call. So at the end, we're going to take questions. We're going to prioritize anyone who raises their hand. You can also type your questions into the chat, as well as any feedback you have about how we can make this real world case study better and more helpful to you. I'd really appreciate it. Now, if you want to learn more about Data Dive, there's 3 ways that you can do this. I said we're going to be scaling back the number of one-on-one calls that we get on, with the exception of our enterprise clients. But if you do want to learn more, we have 3 different ways that you can do this. We have our knowledge base and our AI chatbot. We have our YouTube channel, and then we have office hours 3 times a week. So if you want to access the knowledge base, there's an icon on the bottom right-hand side of the screen. This is inside of the Data Dive app, and you can navigate directly to the knowledge base. These are written guides that explain a lot of the parts about how to use Data Dive. You can also use our AI chatbot to type in a question, and then it'll find the article that is most relevant, or it'll give you the answer right on the screen. The best way to find the newest information, though, is on the YouTube channel. We've been uploading 2 to 3 videos a week. Our video editor just sent me a whole new queue. So updated video on the master keyword list, on outliers, on residue keywords. There's a whole bunch of new information there. So if you haven't already subscribed to the YouTube channel, it's just Data Dive Tools. And then if you've missed any of the previous office hours sessions, go and check out the Office Hours V2 playlist. This is our second time going through, second iteration, making it a little bit better. If you have some experience already using Data Dive, but you want to learn these workflows that I'm talking about, I recommend checking out the speed round. We have videos now up for validate, launch, and optimize. So in speed round, we validate 3 products in 30 minutes, launch 3 products in 30 minutes, and optimize 3 products in 30 minutes. The newest video is Speed Round Enterprise, where we talk about managing the entire workflow. So this is the best way, I think, if you have some experience with the tool to learn the workflows and get better at executing faster. Also, too, just a quick note is that we have doubled usage. I know I've been saying this for a few weeks, but there's still a lot of users that don't realize that this happened. If you're on a standard plan, you now can add 1,000 competitors to research every month, and you can track 1,000 keywords in Rank Radar. This is doubled from 500. We also doubled the usage on enterprise accounts, and this was totally free. This is active now. You don't have to do anything to get that usage increase. If you're on a starter plan, you still have the same limits. So I think that's just your motivation to upgrade to the standard plan. You really get a lot, especially on the keyword tracking side. So this box actually should be over here because we have now finally finished the first 2 series of office hours. So quick start guide, and you can see these on the YouTube channel, is like very high level, conceptual, big picture thinking about like what is product validation, what is launching, what is optimization. In speed round, this is about repetition. It's about seeing the workflow over and over and over again so that you feel confident that you can do the same thing. And then real world case studies is where we are now. So this is getting into some more of the nuances, how these workflows react in a real world environment. And like I said, Joey's actually on this call, so I'm sure he might stick around and answer some of the questions that we're covering today. Now, I'm not going to dive into all of these workflows right now. We might reference them more in the Q&A. If anything that I'm showing very quick doesn't make sense, then I'd recommend watching the videos on the YouTube channel for speed round, because you'll get to see these workflows done 3 times in however long the video is, like 30, 40 minutes. So product validation is like you're going to start your dive, you're going to clean the MKL, you're going to do an analysis of the overview tab, you're going to fill out the product scorecard, fill out the profits tool, and run the AI brief. Based on the information of the product scorecard and the profits, what the budget required to launch is, if you look at dozens and dozens of product opportunities, you should be able to figure out, okay, which one of these products has the highest score on the scorecard, but also fits my budget required to launch. And those are likely the products that you're going to proceed with developing and potentially launching. Once you've validated a product, you're going to move on to launching that product. And this is the bare minimum kind of SOP or workflow for launching a product. You're going to write the listing. You're going to modify what the AI did. You're going to have to check its work before setting it live. You're going to analyze the AI product brief in deep dive. And you're going to use those 2 points of data to create a creative brief. This is what your images, your A+ content, your main image, potentially videos are going to contain to help with conversions. And then you're going to create a PPC campaign for launch. Once you do that, you'll be able to basically launch the product. And then from there, once the product is live on Amazon and you want to improve the performance, then you're going to work through this optimization workflow. Now, this optimization workflow is really what we're going to be covering in today's real world case study. There's a part 1 and there's a part 2. Part 1 is about improving the SEO, improving your listing optimization, how your listing is written, and allowing you to rank for different keywords. So the workflow for this is you're going to look at the master keyword list. You're going to inspect where you currently ranked well, where you not ranked well for different keywords. Once you've inspected that MKL, you're going to be looking at the master keyword list for gaps. These are areas where you're not indexed at all, or your organic rank is much lower than you would expect it to be. Then you're going to compare those gaps to the listing builder and see, okay, I saw gaps, or I saw low ranks, or I saw areas I wasn't indexed in my master keyword list. Now I want to see if those gaps are also in the listing, right? Could I switch keywords from being a broad to an exact? Could I move things from my bullets into my title? Could I just add keywords that were never included from the start? Then you're going to rewrite the listing, you're going to set up rank tracking, and then you're going to go through and continually optimize for performance over time. This is a big chunk of what Joey did on the brand that we're going to be showing today, just listing optimization. Part 2 of the optimization is more related to PPC. Right? So once you've already checked the SEO, you've checked to see if you're indexed for the relevant keywords, then you're going to fix your click-through rate, you're going to fix and diagnose your conversion rate. And then importantly after that is you're going to analyze Rank Radar and say, okay, I added these keywords into my listing, right? I got my ranking juice up, I changed my match type, right? I changed the position of these different keywords in my listing to get more ranking juice. Then what you're going to want to do is you're going to want to take a hard look at the PPC performance and ask yourself, are there ways that I could be improving my PPC campaigns, optimizing those campaigns? So the reason that this fixed CTR and fixed CVR is there before you get into optimizing your PPC is ideally what you would like to do is before you start really changing in a big way your PPC campaigns, you would want to make sure that you don't have a click-through rate or a conversion rate issue. You'd want to fix that first before throttling up and spending more on PPC. Enterprise workflow, I'm not going to cover today, but you can go on the YouTube channel and check out the speed round video for enterprise. It really just walks you through if you have a larger organization, if you have an agency, you have a big portfolio of products. Enterprise is how you manage the validation, launch, and optimization project pipeline or workflows for many employees or many products. So I won't cover that today. So I think we are now ready to jump into this. Those are all of our announcements. It didn't take too long to get through that. Let's get into it. So for these real world case studies, we're going to follow a similar format every single time where we talk about the problem, we talk about what the solution to that problem was, and then we talk about what was the overall impact from the strategies that were executed. So this problem was actually very simple. The way it was explained to me is that the core problem was really that there was a low organic rank. In the email that we sent out, in the notifications you saw for office hours, you saw that the story here was going from an average rank of 71 to what if I remember correctly, an average rank of 13. So you can see here, and this is just a quick snapshot of Rank Radar. You can see that there's a lot of keywords that had either low organic ranks or areas where those keywords were not indexed at all. You can see here the plus 101 means that for these keywords, they're not indexed at all. So the overall problem is that there's low organic rank. And this is probably something that if you've set up Rank Radar, you should be able to diagnose this basically in an instant, looking at your products. If you have a product that you're currently selling and you set up rank tracking, and you see a lot of reds, you see a lot of 101s, you see areas that you're not indexed, or you see the average organic ranks being low, that's an indication that your organic rank is low and you're not going to be showing up. Your visibility is going to be much lower than other competitors in the niche. And if you want to get more sales, you're going to have to improve that organic rank. The other thing too, that was pretty easy to diagnose, or that would be pretty easy to diagnose, is a thing that was contributing to the overall problem is poor listing SEO. So when we looked at this product, we could see that the overall ranking of the title, bullets, and description in the Ranking Juice leaderboard was 9 out of 16 overall. The title was in position 6 out of 16. The bullets were in position 10 out of 16. And the description was in position 5 out of 16. When we looked at the roots usage and hits area, we could see that there was very few exact match keywords. And in fact, a lot of the saturation of the important keywords was actually located in the bullet points, and our match type was not as ideal as we'd like it to be. Remember, when we're calculating ranking juice, there's a listing position multiplier, right? So title is going to give you 3x ranking juice, bullet is going to give you 2x ranking juice, and description is going to give you 1x ranking juice. There's also a match type multiplier. And so the match type multiplier is basically saying that exact match is going to be the strongest, a broad match is going to be less, a plural match, et cetera. It goes down. So just by, this is a pretty easy situation here to fix, is moving things from the bullets into the title, switching things from broad matches to exact matches, and just overall trying to increase our position on the Ranking Juice leaderboard. You can also see here from the combined stats that, like, the exact match keywords, we only had 4 exact match keywords, which is only 15% of the master keyword list, that we're only covering 39% of the relevant roots, like just basically significant room for improvement. It doesn't take a rocket scientist to look at this and see, okay, hey, we could do a little bit better in terms of SEO. Another big problem here, I don't want to say a big problem, but another core problem that was contributing to the overall rank being low is just inefficient PPC spend. So overspending in some categories, potentially not targeting exactly the right keywords. And we'll get into that a little bit more when we look at the PPC. So the overall problem is low rank. It's going to contribute to, again, this is the whole point about Data Dive. This is the whole basis of how the software is built. winning on Amazon comes down to one thing. It's really your ability to rank as high as possible for the largest percentage of keywords in the master keyword list. If there's 100 different ways people are searching for your product, and you're on average showing up in position 70 versus on average showing up in position 3, who's going to get more sales? The person who's showing up in 70 or position 3, right? So it's just really low organic rank, and it was really contributed by the SEO and PPC. So the solution really was fixing the SEO, fixing the PPC, and setting up rank tracking so that we could see how the performance improved over time and how the strategy needed to be adjusted. So here you can see a solution, and you got to understand that when we're doing these, we can't reveal what the product is. We can't reveal what the keywords are. So you just have to kind of think about how do you go from the before scenario to the after. Again, if you need help with this, I'd recommend watching the office hours on optimization, and we do it 3 different times. We do it over and over, or asking Q&A. So the solution is to rewrite the listing to maximize ranking juice for relevant terms. You can see this is the before was in position 9 out of 16 overall, and then after goes into position 1 overall. Most important is that the title is in position 1. Bullets could still be a little bit better, but remember, a majority of the ranking juice is going to come from your title. That's going to send the strongest signal to Amazon that we are the keywords. Our product is related and it's relevant to the keywords that are in our title. So you can see it's a big jump there. Now, what was really interesting is when I was talking to Joey about this, okay, so this is the first, like basically being in position 9. It shows up as 10 because my listing is in there. This is the listing that's being edited. So you can see here we are with like 100,000 ranking juice, and then this is what it should look like in the end. It doesn't necessarily need to be in position number 1, but you could see that having like 100,000 ranking juice versus there's a good portion of the top sellers that are 2 or 3x your ranking juice. It's going to make a big impact if you can increase that. But what was also, and maybe this is actually from a different product because these ranking juice numbers are a little bit off, maybe much higher. I could be looking at the overall here, but basically he went really above and beyond on this. That there was a point of increasing to the number 1 spot with 34,000 ranking juice, and then just like going above and beyond of getting all the way up to 117,000, which is like 10x some of the lowest competitors. Now, this requires a little bit deeper of an explanation. I'm not saying that you should, like by default, you don't necessarily need to like 10x, 10 or 100x the people in your niche. I think this is just maybe a smaller niche or not so much competition, that there's just a lot of people that are really leaving a lot of ranking juice on the table. But just to show you how far you can take it in terms of optimization. Now, that's on the SEO side. Optimizing for how the listing is written. The second thing was to go in optimize PPC performance. So I'm actually going to leave this right now. I'm going to come back to this in the end. But basically how this was explained to me is that there was a handful of campaigns that were utilizing spend unnecessarily, and there was a handful of campaigns where they weren't spending enough, that actually the click-through rate and the conversion rate were very solid, but they were leaving money on the table when it came to an easy way to generate more sales, generate more revenue. So at the end of the call, when we get into Q&A, we're going to explain this part a little bit more, but really what it came down to is looking at the campaigns that weren't performing and then dialing those back, turning off keywords that actually weren't converting or getting sales. And then on the areas that were performing well, actually throttling up that PPC spend. When you saw again, this is another video that's on the YouTube channel for the part 2 of the speed round optimization. Brandon was walking through this exact same concept, right? Of being able to look and see, okay, what are the areas I need to turn down and consolidate PPC spend? What are the areas that I need to ramp up and increase the PPC spend? So we'll get into some of this PPC stuff. Again, in the end, you can see that here this is the additional view where we're tracking not just the organic ranks, but this is actually inside of Rank Radar. You can see our keywords here, and we're actually being able to see, like, here's our impression rank, our impression share, all of the different types of campaigns that we're running, as well as what is the amount that we're spending, what's our return, what's our click-through and conversion rate from those different PPC terms. So we'll get into that again if we have Q&A in the end. I think Joey might be able to answer a little bit more questions on these. But this is the last part of the solution here, is the tracking. So one more quick note I want to make about this is, I know I mentioned this in the past 2 office hours, but if you don't see this view inside of your rank radar, you need to connect your PPC account so that you can see this. And again, the whole point of this is to be able to look through and to see, are there areas, let's say, for example, where my impression rank is low, but I'm actually getting a good conversion rate, I'm getting a good click-through rate. And if I would switch these campaigns to, let's say, be top of search, or to add additional budget to these, if I get my impression rank up, I'm going to maintain potentially that same click-through and conversion rate. That'll mean that all I got to do is get my results higher up, and I'm gonna get more and more sales, right? That's the concept of leaving money on the table. So you need to set up rank tracking to be able to see what's the effectiveness of everything that's going on here. And what you're going to notice here is that we don't just have the rank tracking set up. What Joey and his team also do is they're putting in these highlights. So you'll see these in the YouTube videos explaining how to do it. You click on the checkbox and you add highlights. But basically, as they're taking different actions, so whether that's like rewriting keywords into the listing, or they're throttling up PPC spend or consolidating PPC spend, what you can do is you can put in these highlights and you can get an idea of what actions did I take on the left-hand side? That's going to be your highlight. And then you can see how is this impacting my organic rank on the right-hand side? This is about being able to monitor those changes and be able to see okay, at this date, I started, a different strategy, and then I can go and look and see how that strategy plays out. So here we are. This is getting to the last section. We did the problem, we did the solution, and now we're here in impact. And basically, this is overall what we're looking at here. So I think I had on here that the MKL performance increased from 70 to 99%. I believe that's accurate. But more importantly, what I'm looking at here, I didn't have a screenshot to show for that. This is what I'm really looking at, is that our average organic rank was 71. And this is over a period of just under 30 days. You can see that we go from 71 to 13. And then more importantly, look at this. This is areas where we were likely not making any sales at all. 101, this is going down to a 9. 101, this is going down to 11. And 101, this is going down to a 35. So there was at least 4 keywords here that we weren't showing up at all anywhere. And just from SEO and being able to push some PPC traffic, we've increased those ranks. And basically across the board as well. So this is kind of the analysis and next steps. We'll open it up for Q&A. And then before we go into Q&A, I'm going to go through a couple very quick announcements. And then if Joey, if you want to get yourself ready in the next 2-3 minutes, we can answer some questions on this. We're going to try to put together a better and better analysis of this every week too. The thought is to show you Joey Joey runs this agency, owns this agency that they handle many different clients, many different products. And so even though this testing time frame that they were working on this happened over a period of 30 days, it's not like they're going in for 8 hours every single day and they're just okay, how should we change this title? How should we change the PPC? This is you're taking incremental steps every single day. You're taking little tweaks, but they don't necessarily take a large amount of time. So one of the things that I'm trying to get a sense on is how much time was spent working on this optimization workflow over a period of 30 days. And it seems like that was actually not that much. We're talking about maybe a couple of hours over a 30-day period. You're going in for a few minutes here and there, and you're just making little tweaks. The point is that if you have larger portfolios, you can replicate this process over and over and over again. And what Data Dive is going to help you do is it's going to help you get to these insights a lot faster, so that you're not spending an hour to pull the data just to see, okay, I'm going to do a few minutes of work tweaking a title, tweaking a listing, or tweaking a PPC campaign. You should have all of that information there, and you're just spending a couple minutes, and then you move on to the next product. Couple minutes, move on to the next product. Couple minutes, move on to the next product. So we didn't get to put together the estimated value of these optimizations, but the thought, and again, this is the first week of real world case studies. The thought is that we're going to be able to show you for each of these, here's what the problem is, here's the solution, here's the impact, and then here's how much time was spent, and here's how much this is going to be value in terms of increase in sales in a dollar amount that they're going to see over the next year from like the hour that was put into this optimization effort. So this is where we're going to wrap up. We've got some announcements. I can already see we've got some comments and questions coming through. First one is that if you're going to be in London for Seller Sessions Live, Brandon's going to be teaching a workshop. It is limited to only 12 people. I think a few of the tickets are already sold. There's also going to be another event that we're doing with a company called Honest FBA. They're a course based out of the UK. So you'll see more information on that. What you want to definitely do, though, absolutely right now, is go and sign up for this Advanced PPC Optimization Masterclass. This is going to be taught tonight. It starts at 6 p.m. EST. I have to go and grab, our CMO, Vaughn, was giving me a code for this. For anyone who is in Data Dive, I think you get $150 off. This is going to be a few hours long. It's going to be taught by Brandon and then one of our students in Inner Circle. His name is Torsten. They're going to be really diving deep into a lot of these advanced PPC strategies.